Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Life. My name is Dablola Ogunshaki, and here on Today in the News read and give in-depth analysis on some of the stories making waves across Nigeria. And this morning I'm starting with Vanguard on the paper review. Vanguard is leading with local government polls. PDP has lost Rivers. BoT chair Wabara laments, says party rocked its own boat, ignored warnings. We have covered plans to unleash violence on local government headquarters. That's according to Wabara. Swears into a three-council chairman. Councillor says, I am still in PDP. Article hails River people and Wabara for rejecting intimidation. And APP dedicates victory to Rivers people. Commends Wabara for peaceful polls. You can see that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. On page 11, Vanguard's Priska Samduru wins NLNG prize. You can see that inside the Vanguard newspaper. And above on page 22, shock as banks record huge profit amidst the global economy. And that's what we have on Vanguard. Now let's move to the Punch. Punch is leading this morning also with the Rivers story. A Rivers crisis, Wike camp heads for court as Wabara swears in local government chairman. APC, PDP factions vow legal battle as Governor Atiku orders cancel local government chiefs on resident welfare. You can see that on page 2. Tariff hike, Disco's revenue jumps to 887 billion naira. That can be seen on page 36. And on page 8, 2027, Labour Party welcomes Kwankwaso's offer to be Obi's running mates. I trafficked drug to pay my MSc fees, as according to Canadian suspect. You can see that on pages 4 and 5. 50 CNG stations servicing 200 million Nigerians. You can see that on page 36 and above the banner on page 35. Naira for crude. 3 refineries plan PMS production. Dangote awaits NNPC supply. Lastly, on the Punch newspaper, Nigeria's debt servicing source to 6 trillion naira, says CBN report. That can be seen on page 36. And now the Nation, experts list merit of crude sales to refineries in naira. It's a win-win for investors, marketers, users, less pressure on domestic currency. You can see that on page 4. And here in quotes, we have North leaders in final push to end banditry terrorism. You can see that on page 4. And above the banner on page 26, husband stamps a new wife to death in Lagos. Reporter seeks a PIA amendment to halt falling government revenue. You can see that on newspaper 4. And lastly, the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with concerns over Naira's fair value after CBN's $2 billion lifeline. You can see that on page 6. On page 3, NNPCL withholds $11.3 billion, remits only $2.2 billion to Federation amid the PIA flaws. Wabara swears in chairman, APC upset Benue, PDP shines in Akwa Ibom. You can see that on page 6. Nigeria's cargo clearance cost 179% above neighbors, says report. Stop bringing ill-gotten money as offerings. Once you can see that on page 8, and that's all we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper and the front pages of some of the dailies. And do well to join us after the break for the analysis. Welcome back. If you are just joining me, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Life. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki, and joining me this morning to analyze the stories on the front pages is Mr. Aliu Mohammed. He's the CEO of Magnus Communications, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, Mr. Aliu.
Good morning, Damlola. How are you?
I'm very fine. So this morning, let's start with election, but of course, we'll start from Rivers State. And what do you think about the Rivers election this weekend? At least APP won 23 local government out of 24.
For me, it is a salute to democracy. I want to commend the courage of the River State Governor, Mr. Sim Fubara, for being decisive and taking decisions that made that election to go on. There were attempts to stop the River State election purportedly based on some court orders and court rulings, but the governor put his feet on the ground and insisted that he won't allow anybody to stop that election. And he went, even there, the Inspector General of Police to withdraw his men, that they will provide security during election themselves. So the Inspector General became, had no choice but to be committed to ensuring that there was peace during that election. He sent policemen there, contrary to what he initially wanted to do. He was going to withdraw policemen from the state, but I thank God reasons prevailed at the end of the day. There was heavy police presence and the election went on with the surprise that came out of it in form of the victory of a new party called the APP, which I learned is being funded by the governor of the state. To me, that is a master stroke. A master stroke in the process of the two lions fighting in River State, I mean Wike and Wabara. It is obvious where the victory is going to now with the emergence of APP, which we learned belongs to Wabara. The PDP has effectively lost control of almost all the local governments in River State now. So we know where the victory is now. And you see, I knew this will happen. I said it on this program that if God has placed it in your heart to help somebody one way or the other, you don't lord it over that person. You have helped him. He's the governor of the state today. Let him rule. Allow him, give him the freedom to exercise his powers as governor of the state. Not that you will sit in Abuja or you sit in your house and be giving instructions to a sitting governor, constitutionally elected by the people of the state, no matter your manipulative effects on his election. I said it that you don't have to lord it over. But I thank God we are itching towards the resolution of the crisis in River State now. There won't be any external influence again in the affairs of that state from somebody who is not even based in the state, using local government chairmen, using different officials. Those officials have been removed from the state cabinet, and the guy should be allowed to run the state peacefully.
But can we say, with this, that Wabara is still in PDP party?
So he said, but effectively he is not. It is obvious that he is not. He has another party called the APP. He will just tell you that he's in PDP, awaiting the last trumpet that will come from PDP, which will signal his exit from the party.
All right, let's talk about Senator Wabara. Now, he said that this is the first time in the recent history that a ruling party in Rivers State, which has been controlled by the PDP since 1999, lost its grassroots influence to a lesser-known party. But, some people are attributing this to internal divisions, while some are saying that this was what, the former governor was fighting against.
No, you see, from the one that Wabara became the governor of the state, Wike took control of his administration. He appointed commissioners for him. He appointed his personal staff, putting his own people in strategic places. And now a crisis of confidence started. There was a big battle over who would be in charge of the state. The governor was not effectively in charge. So to fully take charge, he started by removing all the people that were appointed by Wike, including commissioners. And Wike didn't take this lightly. He started a full battle with the man that has been elected to succeed him as the governor of the state. You don't do such a thing. If you have helped somebody to be anything in life, leave that person to perform his role. Not that you will now be dictating to him that you want so much from the state allocation because you helped him to be governor, because he used your structure to become the governor. I know you don't do things like that. The guy started removing, Fubara started removing all Wike appointees, both in the house and in his cabinet. When local government election was approaching, Wike went to court. The Wike's faction of PDP went to court, and Fubara's faction too went to court, different courts. Wike used the Abuja courts to stop elections there. But the governor used the courts in the state, believing that they are the duly recognized courts with jurisdiction over the affairs of the states. The court in the state gave a go-ahead that the election should hold, whereas the other court in Abuja said no. That was the cause of the skirmishes that we had before the election was held. Eventually, the election took place, and a party that has been strategically funded by Fubara, who claims to still be in PDP, swept the polls. Do you need any prophet to let you know that it is Fubara that was speaking in disguise? No. So the thing is that it's a big lesson to all of us who have who are mentors to a lot of people. If you have, for any reason, helped anybody in this world, you don't sit on that person's head and want to direct his life, or you want to dictate to him how he should live his life. It is not right for anybody to behave like that. Like I have said, Wike shouldn't have gone as far as he has gone with Fubara. Now he has been thoroughly embarrassed. He has been removed from the affairs of Rivers State, contrary to the fact that if he had allowed that guy to run, he will be given his due respect as a former governor of the state. The next thing now, which I foresee, which I think the police and other security agencies should prevent, is a likely physical clash between Wike's supporters and Fubara supporters anytime Wike visits Port Harcourt. Go and note it. It will happen.
All right, so PDP, some of the officials of PDP and the supporters of PDP, they said they will tighten their bet ahead of the 2027 election. But still talking about the 2027 election, the Labour Party on Sunday, they welcomed the offer by the new Nigeria's People's Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Senator Kwankwaso, to be the running mate to Labour Party's Peter Obi in the election. What do you think about these they are coming together? Because I remember then it was something they suggested, but it didn't go through.
You see, when you have the kind of situation that we are in, since the swearing in of the current president and his administration, we've had a lot of skirmishes in the country. There is hunger, there has been petrol scarcity, and so many other problems that have remained unresolved. And in this kind of situation, politicians will start aligning and realigning to ensure that the party causing this crisis is removed. And that realignment is permitted in any political dispensation. And that is what you are seeing. Probably Obi sat back and have this feeling that without going into alliance with other parties, he may not be able to be president of Nigeria. Or without going into alliance with another political party and taking the number 2 seats in that alliance, and eventually, after a tenure, he will emerge as president. These are all political strategies and permutations that we are witnessing. It is possible that he could be president or he could win an election under that kind of an arrangement. So you can't rule it out. It's a matter of strategy. All the parties are strategizing. You recently, I don't know if you read it, politicians visiting IBB in Mina. What do you think they went for? Alignment discussions. How do we remove so person from where he is? What do we do? How can we win election in 2027? These are the things that are happening now. So it is not something that is strange. It is part of political permutations and alignments to ensure that the parties that will come out to contest in the 2027 election succeed. Not only that they will succeed, they will have the president from their parties.
But do you think what played out in 2023 might likely affect them in 2027, especially with some of the internal division with the Labour Party?
See, 2027 is a bit far away. But like I said, all these realignments must start now. So it is difficult now to predict what will likely happen in 2026 or even in 2027. The situation of the country will play a lot of roles in the emergence of new leaders in 2027. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, that the situation of this country, when we are close to that election year of 2027, will determine to a large extent who and who will come to the fore, coming to the fore as in being the leader that is wanted by the people, the leader that may likely win in 2027. Because you see, a lot of education is going on now. Because of the situation of things in the country, people have become conscious of the fact that they suddenly have a vote, a power to vote people out of government. A lot of people are now aware that they can actually vote those in government out if they want. But the situation of things in Nigeria has opened our eyes so well that we now realize that yes, we have a power. That power, we can use it to remove a government that is presently in power and put another person there. So watch out for 2027. We are going to see a lot of surprises.
All right, let's talk about the economy and mainly the petrol sector. Well, Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPCL) Limited, they are now selling crude to local refineries in naira using Dangote Petroleum Refinery as the pilot. And according to experts, they said that this will put less pressure on the domestic currency. What's your take on this?
At last, they are accepting good economic advice. I don't know what sense it makes for us to sell crude to foreign countries in dollars and use maybe your total exports, crude oil exports, is 200 trillion, and you are using 300 trillion to import a few refined products into the country. It doesn't make any economic sense, and it will never make any economic sense. Doing that has been putting a lot of pressure on the naira. You can see how the naira has fallen so low. If you want to change $1,000 now, that person will get 1.6, 1.7 million. It shows how bad the exchange rate of the naira to a dollar is. So this decision, we are hoping that it will put a lot of, it will reduce a lot of pressure that has been on the naira, and it will allow the naira to appreciate in the international money markets.
All right, Mr. Liu, before we go, I would like you to just quickly talk on this. So, Lazarus Moka, the pastor of the Lord's Chosen Charismatic Ministry, issued a stern warning to his congregation and followers against bringing ill-gotten or fraudulent money as offerings and donations to the church. What's your take on this?
How will he identify money that were legally gotten and those that were ill-gotten? You see, with due respect to the revered man of God, we should uh, we should not confuse our church members with what we say. How do I know if the money you earn, for whatever reason, is ill-gotten or not? He is the pastor of the church. You can only know those who are working. Fully engaged. Maybe a few of them. I will not go to any church now and start banding the fact that I am the CEO of Magnet Communications. You don't need that in the church. So you don't have to know what anybody is doing. If somebody comes to say, okay, I'm giving you tithe of 1 billion, then you have a reason to fear. But if somebody comes to say, okay, out of my tithe, I'm giving you 30,000, will you fear that person? You know that he's giving you that 30,000 out of the very little earnings that he get at the end of the month. So it is, if he is really serious about ensuring that people don't bring ill-gotten money to his church, when people come with over 200 million, you should reject the 200 million. That is when we know that he's serious.
All right, Mr. Liu. Mr. Liu, Mr. Liu, let's talk about Big Brother Nigeria, one of the reality TV show.
I heard that there was somebody that won 100 million. Fine, but you see, all these Big Brother things, there are aspects of it that are not sending the right messages. You know the ones that I'm talking about. That's why we don't watch it in our house. I have kids there. I have people that must be protected against certain vices. So I gave a rule that nobody must tune to that. I do watch it sometimes privately in my room. But you see, we must also encourage professionals in various fields by giving out such sum of money to encourage them. If Damilola is doing well in the field of broadcasting, somebody should be able to point to the donors to that Big Brother Africa that, look, this lady is doing well as a journalist. She's deserved to be rewarded or to be trained to even get a scholarship for further studies. But it is funny that people give so much money to such activities that are not actually promoting very good vices. Very, very good vices. I don't want to expatiate on that. You see, but then if you are out to have fun, watch things that will make you feel relaxed, yes, you can tune to Big Brother Africa, watch whatever is there, laugh and have a good sleep at night. But it is not too good a program for children that are beyond 18, 19, 20. So I don't allow my children to watch it. It's a good thing if they can keep it up, but I am only appealing that whoever the donors are, they should consider donating to intellectualism. They should consider donating to encourage people who are in the universities, professionals who are doing well within their profession, encourage them. It will go a long way in creating a positive image for such organizations. You understand? Instead of putting so much money on Big Brother Africa, if you encourage, if you give 100 million for the purpose of sponsoring a journalist, for instance, you can imagine the publicity such a gesture will give to the company or organization that is engaging in such an activity. So if it is PR that is your target for certain things that you do, you must put your money in a place where the target of your company will be realized 100%. After this Big Brother Africa now, you may not hear about that company again until the next one.
Whereas
if you give it to a media organization, your name will rise to high heavens. So it's a good cause to them. It's a good cause, but I think they can do better.
All right, Mr. Liz, let's end it with Mr. and Mrs. this morning. And Mr. and Mrs., like always, are playing with words this morning. Mr. says, the woman sells biscuits. Is there a problem if I go to her shop for my favorite crackers? Mrs. replied, if I catch you doing anything than crackers, biscuits, I will show her firecrackers.
She will show her
Firecrackers.
You understand what Mrs. is talking? It is a live TV. I don't want to make further comments on that.
Mr. should please respect Mrs.
Respect
because
Mrs.
when she says firecrackers, you should know that there's fire on the mountain. All right, thank you, Mr. Ali, for joining us this morning. Do want to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can also visit our website www.vanguardangel.com to get